Okay, looks like we are officially live, and that I'm real excited about this episode because we're going to be talking about health and wellness. And this is a business that, in my early 20s, I actually had a health and wellness business. A lot of people think that my first business was the app lifestyle, which was online, and it actually wasn't. My first business I ever did was the Sealy Tea, and it was a business where I actually provided herbal capsules for various people, and it was pretty successful. But ultimately, I decided to go another avenue when it came to business. But I'm always sympathetic when it comes to any kind of health and wellness business because the lack of knowledge when it comes to maintaining one's health is just insane in today's society. And that's why I'm glad to be bringing on Phyllis. She's also known as the Fibroid Queen for those of y'all that are on Instagram a lot. She has an incredible story to tell, not just about health and wellness, but also about how to build a health and wellness business and take it full time. So we're not going to drag the intro out any longer than it needs to be. We want to get to the good stuff. Let's go ahead and hit you with this intro.
Welcome to the Side Hustlers Society podcast with your host, Elijah Bilel. This is where you can find out more about hustles that are best for you. And of course, make more money in the process. Elijah has been in the gig economy and freelance space for over 5 years and has done over 3,000 deliveries on Uber Eats. He's an Airbnb superhost, runs multiple YouTube channels, and is the author of the best-selling book, The Anatomy of Financial Success. It's his mission to empower people with the tools needed to be successful. Now, welcome your host, the king of side hustles, Elijah Bilel.
Sup, everyone, and welcome to another episode produced by the Side Hustlers Society podcast. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at how to build a health and wellness business, and also how that type of business can help a lot of people in the process because people struggle when it comes to this topic in society. Our guest today is Phyllis Frempong, and she's also known as the Fibroid Queen. She's a registered nurse, fitness coach, womb wellness advocate, and empowerment speaker. Her other endeavors include leading retreats and womb wellness events around the world, and she's been a nurse for almost 15 years. Has a bachelor's in nursing with many certifications from functional nutrition to corrective exercise. She wrestled with her health challenges and now is an advocate for controlling one's destiny with this acute condition. Through her womb wellness workouts, she offers women other options and alternatives. Quote, my goal is to be able to help you thrive no matter what route you decide to take for fibroid treatment. Whether your desire includes taking preventative measures, mindset coaching, workouts, nutrition plans and guidance, symptoms management, or just having a safe place for support and accountability. She's now gone without medication for this condition for years, managed fibroids naturally, and has helped other women in the process do this. So I got to say, that's a pretty lengthy bio, Phyllis, but I'm pretty happy that you're probably going to fill in the blanks. But how are you doing
Yeah,
today?
I'm doing so good. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much, Elijah, for inviting me on your platform.
Hey, most definitely. You have a gift that can help literally thousands of women. And a lot of people are passionate about the health and wellness space, but I know a lot of people who've tried to build it, but there's always like a missing component. And I
Mhm.
know you have some insight on how to fill those missing components to be successful if you truly have something of value to offer people who want to live healthier. And I tell people all the time, they want to start with this money stuff. It really starts with your health. What's the
Yeah,
point of making all this money if you just you give it back to the universe in the form of medical bills? Who wants to do that?
right, right.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you. Yeah, and I love how you emphasize that is really getting into this. I had to, step one, share my story, vulnerability, and being open to letting people in on who I am, what my purpose is, and why I do this. And I feel like that allowed people to connect. and gave me more of a sense of willingness and empowerment to build my business. So I loved everything you just emphasized. And it kind of reflects back to my story of being able to turn the pain and suffering with uterine fibroids into purpose and power using this unique formula called the Symptom Eliminator Bootcamp. Now, I talk about how I started, but it actually started when I was 8 years old. And being able to witness my mom go through this similar experience of fibroid suffering. And remembering as a child how I wanted to help her, seeing her in pain, not knowing why she was always in the bathroom, going to the doctor's appointments and coming back with just confusion and having no idea about what's going on with her body. And I left that experience just knowing that fibroids was the issue. So fast forward 15 years later, I'm in nursing school and getting a wellness checkup and just reflecting on not only her experience, but knowing that throughout me first having my cycle, it never felt like it always felt weird. Symptoms that most women can see is heavy cycles, um, pain, bloating, and I had all of those. And even after telling the doctor, still, it was like, oh, it's fine. It's just the narrative of it's being part of the process. It's part of being a woman, but it always felt weird. So I demanded an ultrasound, and that's when it was confirmed that I had a fibroid growing on my uterus as well. So really allowing women to see that this thing has been happening on a generational pattern, but it does not have to continue. And when I started to reevaluate my belief system, who I am, why am I here? When I started to do those things and seek different outlets to help me cultivate that, like getting around people that were positive, uh, immersing myself in motivational videos, getting in the right environment, really just honing in on my emotional health. Once I started doing those things, I started to really become more aware that this is just not a fibroid issue, right? It's just not a uterus issue. It is a whole body issue. And it reflects back to what you were saying is that people get into things thinking there is just a one way, it's a one fix to get what they're wanting, whether it be money, fame, or whatever that looks like for you, but not knowing that that's just a piece of the puzzle. And until you become more aware of yourself, who you are, you're not going to be able to get that energy back in regards to what you're wanting. So I had to be that person that I wanted others to learn from, be empowered by. And that required me to really develop my sense of self and become a master at it. And it's continued healing, but being able to change the way that I eat, the way that I think, and move my body. And I do that through womb wellness workouts. I do that through mindset coaching. So not only watching videos and doing different things, but being around people that um, help me with this growth process. They give me, reflective advice, right? They're looking out for me, those type of people. And being coachable is extremely important. I would say it's just not a business thing, but also in your life, in your health, in your relationships. Are you able to take in new information and see how that resonates with you and grow with it? So mindset coaching is a thing. And then eating. You talked about it earlier. It's like food is not food anymore. And we really have to reevaluate how we are eating, our relationship when it comes to food, how it's been, how it's influenced by the past, our upbringing, and really becoming more um, aware that food could be making us sick. And that's what I had to realize. So I went from being just a typical American diet to a pescatarian where I just ate fish. And then now I'm totally plant-based. I know plant-based eating is not for everyone, but I feel like that has played a huge role in allowing me to eliminate some of the inflammation, some of the acidity, and give me the nutrients that I need in order for my body to heal. So once I have a woman in the program and she's coming from wherever she is, if it's typical American diet, pescatarian, whatever she is, wherever she is, we start you on a elimination diet, I would say. So elimination where you eliminate things that could be adding to your symptoms like dairy, soy, processed foods, and we give you a meal plan to start with, and that builds your foundation. Throughout that experience, we come up with a nutrition plan that does work for you in order for you to get symptom relief. Because these days, it's not about being on a diet. It's more so about finding foods that are going to give you the nutrients that you need. It may be healthy. It may be other foods that you may have not tried before. Because even healthy foods, or most people consider healthy, sometimes are not even right for your system, right?
Mhm.
So, nutrition, wellness workouts, mindset coaching, and then as well as herbs and different other natural modalities, having that structured in a program has allowed me to come from almost having uh, fibroids that grew up to the size of about 9 centimeters, right? So
Oh.
once I went, yeah, let me just go back a little bit. So once I went to the doctor and I was told that there was a quarter-sized fibroid on my uterus, I was told to just monitor it. And that's what most women are told, just to, see what happens. If it gets bigger, if it does this, then come back. And I think that is the worst advice to give because something has caused these fibroids to grow and to be on the uterus. So whatever I'm doing, it's going to continue to feed it. So after taking the doctor's advice, I went through a period of being overweight. I ended up joining bodybuilding for about 8 years,
Mhm.
getting in a toxic relationship. And then that was about a total of 8 years. So I totally put the fibroids on the back burner, right?
Mm.
As I got out of that toxic relationship, that's when I started to have severe symptoms where
Oh.
the fibroids progressed. So I said it was a quarter size, and I just had one. It went up to four, and the largest one being 9 centimeters. So the the um, the time, the stress of life is real. So knowing that fibroids is just not an issue that comes to the uterus, I knew and believed that my mindset reflected my health outcomes, uh, insecurities I was dealing with, stress, not getting enough sleep. All of that stuff played a huge role. So this inspired me to birth Fibroid Queen, which is a reminder for me to always put myself first, put my health first, treat myself like I want to be treated. And Fibroid Queen represents how me as a woman, as a feminine, looking to reach her divine self requires me investing in my mind, body, and soul. So the
Mhm.
reflection of my programs really tie in with that. So pretty much we empower and coach women on not only how to eliminate symptoms, but also support them on creating their destiny. And being able to do that, I'm now at a point where I've shrunk, eliminated fibroids. I do have some remaining, from going from 4 fibroids to the largest being 9 centimeters to shrinking 2 fibroids and eliminating one. The power is there, right?
Right.
The possibility is there. So that's what I've been able to do with this blueprint, and now I support women globally on how to do the same thing, and that's what Fibroid Queen, the foundation, stems from. So I know I said a lot, but I wanted you to, I want to stop there.
Well, that's a hell of an origin story. I mean, I was going to ask how was Fibroid Queen born, but I think you eloquently answered that. And you brought up something that I think a lot of people skim over when they think about, I'll just call it, a lot of people in business label it the health stuff.
Okay.
People just assume it's one thing, like, oh, well, if I improve my diet, then I'll be fine, or if I improve
Mhm.
my mindset, it'll be fine. But like, this is a holistic thing, so you can address like one of those problems. But if you're not doing everything on every level, ultimately it's going to come back.
Yeah.
And this goes for the general population, not just people in business. But I will say that people in business are kind of forced to think holistically about like how they're going to make their business succeed. Apply that mindset to keeping your health at 100% and look at it from multiple angles, because that's how you're going to get the outcome that you want, which is to be healthy and hopefully to pass that mindset on to the future generation in the form of your kids and stuff.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And I love that because your health is going to be a reflection of your business, right? So you said something in regards to just focusing on one thing and then not really integrating the rest. And that's the same for uterine fibroids. It's not just changing your diet, it's not just working out, but it's really dealing with some deep buried challenges that you may have not resolved. They may rise from childhood. They may be not even yours. It may be a traumatic situation that
Mhm.
you witnessed as a child. It may be stress along with your sedentary lifestyle. So there's a lot of things that really add on to the formation of uterine fibroids, and it's beyond just it being genetic. That's no longer an excuse. Your mom had it, that means you're going to get it. No, we have more power to change our genetic blueprint than we think. So it really takes the effort of really knowing yourself, self mastery, and even with business, I think a lot of people fear or move away from that. They don't want
Mhm.
to get to that vulnerable part of their self and really dissect why they're here, why they do the things that they do, what's keeping them from elevating to the next level. And I literally had to take a shovel and dig
Yeah,
and
well,
get to yeah, literally the root of what was keeping me from getting, beyond just the typical, you know, things that was doing, like training others, right? Working as a nurse. Those things were fine, but it wasn't my true calling. And in order to find that, I had to dig. And that is one thing about fibroids is that surgeries and medications are just temporary. Myomectomies, even hysterectomies, do not get to the root of the issue.
mhm.
So, knowing that you've gotten your uterus taken out, you made the decision that you thought was best for you, that's great, but there's still an underlying issue that it may not appear as fibroids because, right, well, at least on your uterus, because your uterus is no longer there, but it could be something else. It could be diabetes, high blood pressure. There's some misalignment going on for
Right.
fibroids to be able to live in your body, for you to experience symptoms. So, really working to get aligned, mind, body, and soul. And that all is going to be mirrored in how your business runs.
Okay. So, like for women that are experiencing issues like with a fibroids, what advice would you give to them that are dealing with this issue, like right off the
Yeah,
bat?
right. So, one thing is about fibroids, it is stagnant energy. It is abnormal growths that appear on or around the uterus. So we can all agree that we're all made of energy. When energy does not move, it becomes stagnant and then it becomes something physical. And that's what fibroids are. We're going to leave out the terms about, benign tumors. We're going to leave out all those big words that are really triggering for most people. We're just going to keep it
Right.
simple and say they're abnormal growths. So to unravel that, I created the blueprint, which is called the Symptom Eliminator Bootcamp. And this is what I put women through. This is what I've been through in order to go from large fibroids to shrinking and eliminating them. And I support women all over the world with that same blueprint. So, women that are listening right now, what I would tell you is just know that medications and surgeries do not get to the root. Second thing is you have to have a healthcare um, lifestyle team. It's not okay just to have a doctor and a dentist. You need a whole team for each area of your body. If
Hmm.
it applies to you, a therapist, a coach, holistic coach like myself, right? Also, acupuncturist, a massage therapist. If your resources allow that, you need a whole team in order to allow your body to get what it needs to function optimally. And also thinking about how what you feel about yourself, who you are, and what your life's purpose is, if those things are not clearly defined, it will resonate in your body. I had to realize that being a nurse and just fitness coaching that wasn't it for me. I knew it was something bigger, but I was not living as so. So that disconnection really caused a lot of chaos in my spiritual world, in my body, and it reflected that. So knowing that what your life, what you're here for, has to be reached in order for you to reach full alignment. But
Hmm.
I want to take it down just a notch. Okay, so you're listening, you're like, okay, that's way over my head. Okay, so number one, you want to um, eliminate, if not moderate, your intake of dairy, meat, and soy. Okay, that's one. Second thing is doing things that are going to help you release stress. Okay, third thing is if it resonates, schedule a consultation with me. We can go over what way makes sense for you to take because you may be just diagnosed with fibroids and you don't know what to do. Let's assess your situation. I think why a lot of women invest in my services, in my consultations, is because they can feel the relatability as well as the trust. I've been a patient. I know how it feels to be told a bunch of information, a bunch of things that I don't understand, confusion.
Hmm.
I've been able to be in the medical space as a nurse, communicating with the doctors, in um, working and also working with women's wellness, and being a woman of color and how you know the we are portrayed. African Americans are the highest when it comes to hysterectomies, and that adds on to our unawareness of what's going on. So I
Right.
feel women can really resonate with what I have to offer them and feel empowered with scheduling a consultation and just getting information on what route to take, um, where it's not the feeling of being alone and having a community of other women that can also support them too. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw
And
that in.
for everyone who's wondering, we'll definitely leave links to where you can reach out to Fibroid Queen if you want to get in contact with her. And we I do see some people watching live, so if you have any questions at any point, like feel free to drop them. We will be having like a general Q&A at the end. So if you don't see me addressing the question, it's because we're going to be handling that at the end of the show. but you can still drop it right now, and we will get to it. So we're gonna switch gears to like this show is kind of divided in two. Like the first half is breaking down this health and wellness, and the second half is talking about if someone has a skill set, like let's say they're a personal trainer or they have a skill set like Fibroid Queen, or they have something that can help people in health and wellness space. How do they succeed with that if they decide to turn that into a side hustle or a full-time hustle? So we're gonna transition into the second part, which is gonna be more the business side. But before we do that, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. So don't y'all go anywhere. Let's go to commercial break real quick.
Is your fear of personal finance holding you back from going after what you want? What if I told you there was a way to get rid of your insecurities? Every person has their own way of making money, budgeting style, and a way of spending money. The key to financial success is the ability to use the right styles for you that ensure success. So, rather than making you focus on avoiding your emotions, this book focuses on empowering them and using them to achieve what you want. Learn how to build and increase the income streams you desire. Understand how to budget your money in a way that you are always moving forward financially. Know how to remove stress from spending money by knowing what works best for your personality. Learn methods to effectively evaluate a financial opportunity within minutes to see if it's right for you. The Anatomy of Financial Success, the key to building financial confidence and destroying financial insecurity by Elijah Bilel. Buy now, available on paperback and ebook.
Welcome back, everyone. For those of y'all that are wondering, that's a add to my book, The Anatomy of Financial Success, which teaches you the art of how to master the art of budgeting and increasing money in ways that work best for your personality. If you're interested in picking that up, just go to www.financialanatomybook.com, and it'll also be linked in the description and also pinned comment of this video. So, with that being covered, we're going to transition into the business side of the show. And I gotta ask because a lot of people they come to me saying I want to start some type of health and wellness business, and then they're not exactly willing to take like advice. So they get out there trying to start a blog or something. They don't really get traction, and then it fails, and they're like, "Ah, I hate this stuff. I'm never gonna try again." When they didn't really probably give it a fair shot because they didn't have the right blueprint. So, Phyllis, what do you feel has caused you to be successful as a fibroid queen?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would say first and foremost is knowing who I am. Um, that allowed me to pay more attention to my why, um, also my purpose, and how I am working on myself as I continue to build this business was extremely important. So, doing that, I feel that I can be coachable. I can take constructive criticism from um, mentorship. I can take advice that resonates with me. And even if it doesn't, I can understand someone else's viewpoint and still, with grace, thank them for, letting me know. But it starts with who you are. If you're dealing with other insecurities, um, you're not aware of why you're in this business, you are not representing the business within your life, there's going to be some disconnections where other people's advice is just not going to be enough. You're going to be intimidated. You may have a little bit of ego, right? So it starts with you. So self mastery is, I think, what has helped me significantly.
You mentioned something so critical when it comes to entrepreneurship, and a lot of people don't talk about it enough. But it's the ability to take feedback.
Yeah.
And I want the audience to really zone in on what I'm about to say because I think this is the most important skill set you need if you're going to be some type of entrepreneur or even if you're going to be a side hustler. Like, we're raised in the school system, whether we realize it or not, to be scared of feedback. I want y'all to think back to elementary, middle school, high school. Like, oh, well, if I get something wrong, then I'm going to get ridiculed and then I get a lower grade. Or if I ask a question, then, I look stupid as a fear of ridicule. So whether we realize it or not, we're mostly plugged in to not ask for feedback, to run away from it. Then we get in the job force where asking for feedback or making a mistake is critically punished. So once again, you fear feedback whether you realize it or not. Then you try and make a transition to entrepreneurship where feedback is critical and you're still running away from it. This is why most entrepreneurs fail. You got to change your mindset from running away from feedback to actually actively seeking feedback and being able to implement it. Not only you got to realize that feedback is part of the process of success. I'm not saying it's going to always feel pretty, but if you start adopting that mindset, it's going to hurt less and less, and then it's eventually just going to be, hey, this is just part of the process. Let's get it done so we can be successful. And why do you think big companies are always asking surveys about how can we improve this and that? And the customers let them have it, and as soon as they get that data, they can act on it and serve them better. So, audience, if you're looking for to go in business for yourself or to even do a side hustle, you got to change that feedback mentality. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it starts with you making that switch. When you make it mentally switching, then you can make the switch emotionally. So, with that being said, most people they struggle in the health and wellness field to monetize their passion around it. Like Phyllis, how do you feel you were able to do this to the degree that this is now a full time business?
Yeah, I would say, and actually want to point out how it was important for me to be that person that I wanted to see in my business. I had these goals. I wanted these results. I wanted to have these type of women, these type of men, these products. So really embodying what I wanted to see. And that I feel that enhanced the synergy for me to really gain the willpower and do the work, put in the effort, knowing that this was my lifestyle. I eat, breathe, sleep this stuff. And, every day I'm focused on how I can elevate um, womb healing, empowering someone else, um, things that I can do to boost, elevate my melanin, right? Like whole body aspect. So knowing that I did this throughout my lifestyle, it made it easier for me to relay that information on social media. It did require some vulnerability, sharing where I started to where I'm at, providing visuals, really giving women that sense of hope um, and that realness. Like, I'm here with you, sis. I've been through what you've been through. And I'm here to tell you, you can overcome it. And it doesn't necessarily have to rely on somebody, a medication, or a surgery. Those are all temporary fixes. It starts with you knowing why you're here on earth and what you're here to do, and how important is it for you to change. Another thing, Elijah, is reevaluating my belief system. There was a lot of different things that I grew up with on how to carry on with life, but not knowing those were mostly just opinions of others that were made up, whether they follow it from the previous generation or it's because of their own thoughts and beliefs on how things should run. So I had to really reevaluate my belief system and say, does this belief cultivate my journey right now? Or is it getting in the way? Or is it making me feel a certain way? So, belief system, being that person that I want to see in my business, being that person as far as the growth that I wanted in my business, and also being real, being vulnerable. I think those are the three things that really help me monetize.
Okay. So you would say that because everything you mentioned is kind of like a mindset shift. So there's
Hmm.
obviously individual things that you could use or you ran into like how to grow on Instagram or how to do this or how to do that, but it wouldn't have really made that big of a difference if you didn't have the right mindset.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Cool, cool. Well, speaking of ways and tactics, like what would you feel is the number one tactic that you've used to grow your business so far? Like this one tactic played a big role in making Fibroid Queen as big as the brand is now.
Yeah, that's a very good one. A very good question. I would say the number one tactic is being empathetic. Um,
Mm.
it allowed me to be more relatable to the women that I talk to on a day-to-day basis. Really resonate with them where they're at in their in their journey, um, and still be able to give them some positive vibes for how far they have came to meet with me. Like, sis, thank you for connecting and making this consultation. Thank you, sis, for changing your belief system on what you think about meat. Thank you, sis, for making an effort to work out today. Little wins and recognizing and encouraging others on how far they've came is just a way to build a foundation of rapport. And then if they are open to more, being coachable, being willing to invest in yourself, and then we can go further. And that's why I do a consultation because it allows me to see where they're at in their journey and if they're ready to move to the next level. Because Elijah, as you explained with a lot of with the examples that you shared about people in their business, you're not ready for advice from someone else that's been in the business like yourself, then same thing with the consultation. You're not ready to know that you have to get to the root of your depression, and how that's influencing your fibroid symptoms, and be willing to take the advice and support and guidance of these are the foods that you need to be eating, and this is the meal plan that we want to start you on. Being open to that information, it starts with that. So um, I think that's like my number one tactic is
Being
starting
being
with the
empathetic.
empathy. Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of people in business, whether we realize it or not, if you're not careful, you can become desensitized, and then you start to see people as just transactions, and it's just part of the process. So he's saying, just remember these are human beings like yourself, and the trait of empathy can go a long way, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool, cool. So for those of y'all that don't know, Fibroid Queen is actually pretty big on Instagram. And some people may be wondering exactly how did you manage to grow like Instagram so efficiently? Um, I've seen people try, I've seen people fail. I'll just leave that as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the number one is kind of, I know I'm repeating a lot of what I said, but I mean, this is the foundation. Knowing who you are, I was able to set a new standard because I went through a period of frustration when I was first looking to start sharing my resources on Instagram because there was no one else that I can refer to. There was no one else out there doing the unique type of program that I was doing when it came to bridging womb wellness, fibroid symptom elimination,
Hashtag
workouts.
trailblazer.
Yeah. And lifestyle together in a formula. There was no one out there that I can look up to. So I was like, you know what, this is done on purpose. This is intentional for you to set your own standard. So being real with what I wanted it to look like and knowing that scrolling through Instagram was really taking up my energy. Just really going on there with intention, um, connecting with others that were like-minded, but going back to my why and my purpose and who I was allowed me to set up my Instagram feed in a way that resonated with me. And at the end of the day, it's you, right? No one else. So, number one thing is recognizing who you are, knowing what you want, and executing that plan.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. And I know you kind of had a calling for this, so it made this super easy.
mm,
But there's a saying that the riches is in the niches, and you're an extremely niche market, and there was no one in that market. So when you created a market, by default, you started to gain a lot of traction. When you say,
that is, I would say that is true. Yeah. Absolutely. And just to piggyback on that, Elijah, knowing that up to 80% of women, I actually think that number is a lot higher, but per research, up to 80% of women will have or um, um, are dealing with uterine fibroids. It is the narrative that it's a medication or surgery. So I really think women can resonate with seeing someone else that had been able to overcome that without having to resort to only it being a surgery or medication. So I think that niche part of it really added a lot of power to my following. Yeah.
cool, cool, okay. So I got a saying on the Side Hustler Society podcast, and it's very true. But if I go a podcast without asking like how much does a person make or like set expectations for like whatever business we're talking about, I might walk outside and get assassinated by my audience, and we don't want to have that. So how much would you say that you make on a monthly basis from your health and wellness business?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And full transparency, my goal was to at least make close to what I was making as a nurse, registered nurse, because I was full time until as of like 3 months ago. I'm now just strictly a full time entrepreneur. So
Need a
leaving,
congratulations soundboard. I'm gonna have to get that installed. That yay effect. But go ahead.
thank you. So being what 3, 4 years in my business, 60K a year was the goal, and let's just say I definitely achieved that in order to leave nursing. At least as a 9 to 5. I still do nursing, but it's more into the business realm of it. But yeah, just to answer your question about 60K.
Cool, cool. And truth be told, people when you start a business, there's a study. I can't quote it directly, but generally speaking, it's gonna take 3 to 5 years for a business to become successful enough to replace a job's income, like anyway. So
Right.
that's just the expectation that you want to set. Like I would say for the first 3 years in any business, for the most part, you're gonna make enough money to cover expenses. And then once that after that period is weaned off, then you really start to make more money. And then it's like, hey, well, I could actually leave the 9 to 5 if I wanted to. But it's a momentum play. And that actually applies to me too. Like a lot of people, I've been self-employed for about 5.5 years, but a lot of people think like I've been making six figures like for a long time. That's actually a more recent thing, like within the last year. Before then, when I left the 9 to 5, I was literally I'm not going to go into my whole story because I have a podcast on that. But the income every year just kept steadily rising. It was like 35,000 to 47,000 to 58,000. Then it went to six figures. It's a trajectory going up, but it's because I was consistent. So everyone, you want to keep an eye on the money. You can use it as a measuring stick, but don't make that the biggest focus because you're setting yourself up to get frustrated. Mentally, be prepared for 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely agree.
So, what would you say? What advice would you give to someone who is looking to start like a health and wellness business today? Since you've had some skin in the game for quite some time, like what would you want to give to the next generation of health and wellness businesses, so to speak?
Yeah, I would encourage them to write out what their why is, their mission, their vision, and the type of people, demographics they want to serve. And take that information and make sure you represent that in some degree as well. I feel that um, you working on any um, places of improvement, whether that be in your emotional space, your mental space, your physical space, um, those all go hand in hand with your business. Because Elijah, like you said earlier, it's not okay to be like, you know what, I just work out. That's like what I do to um, invest in myself, and not knowing you're still dealing with some other issues that have preventing you from going to the next level. So realizing that your body has to be met holistically. And that way, your business is going to follow suit. So it's like finding a partner. You don't want a partner that just can only provide. You want a partner that can be a friend as well, you know, help you in the time of need, support you on what you're doing. So be that person, right? So
Right.
that's my advice.
Okay. And for anyone watching live, in a few minutes we are going to go into the general Q&A. So feel free to drop any questions you have, either for me or for Phyllis, and we'll definitely answer those. Phyllis, I know you had mentioned a little while back off camera, but did you have a new course coming out? So is there anything you want to share about that new course that you're getting ready to release?
Yes, I want to share that it's still cooking. I'm so excited for you guys to finally be able to get your hands on it. But it is a digital course for those that are not ready to invest in my premier program, which is a symptom eliminator bootcamp, but do want to start your journey somehow. And this includes recipes, a taste of a wound wellness workout, and education for you to jumpstart your journey of healing to womb wellness. So that is for you. It's a bundle course, and stay tuned. It will be out really, really soon. So I encourage others to join our email list, and I can send you the link, Elijah, as well. Join our email list so that way you'll be the first to know when the bundle is released. So, yeah.
All right. So I always end the podcast by asking my guests if they have any questions for me. It doesn't necessarily have to be about what we're talking about here, but like just any questions in general about business or side hustles or whatever. So do you have any questions? Do you have a question you want to ask me?
Yeah, I would love, and Elijah, I gotta say, what you're doing is so inspiring, and just the whole name, Side Hustlers, is just really intriguing. But I would love to know what wakes you up in the morning to do what you do for so many others. What keeps
Hmm,
you going?
deep question. I guess we should put our scuba diving suits on. For me, it's really about equipping young adults with the tools they need to be financially successful. And that really kind of stems, well, it drives everything that I do, because the public school system has failed young adults when it comes to financial education. So regardless of whatever you're aiming to do, you're already starting out at a deficit because you don't know anything about budgeting, about what works best for your personality in terms of spending, making money, and also spending money. You usually get advice on how to do XYZ, but that might not even be the best thing for you. I've lost count of how many people have been told to go into sales, and that's just not what their personality is geared for in terms of the techniques they're taught. And if they would just modify their approach, they could be successful. But since they're given the wrong advice, well, we see the result that comes. So just making those resources available to people, that's what wakes me up, and that's why I have so much free content. I made over easily over 500 videos over the course of YouTube and Facebook on how to make money, and how to budget money. And yes, I do have paid products because some people do want to take that further step, but many people become successful just by absorbing the free content. So really, just I like to see people be the best version of themselves. And whether we want to admit it or not, money is going to have an influence on that. Am I saying it should be the core focus of your life? No, but it's going to it's going to impact every key area in life. So why not master the ability around making it and managing it?
Great. Mm. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no problem. But let me check real quick and see if we have any questions. It looks like we don't have any further questions. So I would say that's a great place to leave it off. Uh, so in terms of if people want more from you, Fibroid Queen, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram. So at Fibroid Queen on Instagram, I keep it consistent. On TikTok, my website is www.fibroidqueen.com. And you are looking for just a community of women that are just like yourself, looking to use other resources to not only promote healing, but prevent fibroids. Because even you got a myomectomy, you got the fibroids removed, that is not permanent. So knowing that new fibroids can grow, putting these resources in your hands to get going. And how you can do that is starting by scheduling a consultation with me, where we can talk, establish a rapport, and see what you're needing. And you getting those resources to prevent fibroids, eliminate, shrink them, and again, live your life that you are called to live. Let's handle those things. And then let's start talking about your money with Elijah. No, just kidding. Let's start talking about your side hustler business with Elijah. And then let's talk about, other things that you want to do in life, right? Because those things that you've put in the back burner have affected you to some degree because we as women, we are destined to live a certain way. And that if that alignment is not achieved, it is reflected in the first thing being the way that our periods are. Your period, your cycle, that's like another vital sign. So schedule a consultation, fibroidqueen.com. Let's talk, sis. I'm a walking testimony on how fibroids can eliminate naturally, they can shrink naturally, and you can still live your best life without having to lose your uterus.
Powerful. All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and conclude this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, if you can give this video a thumbs up, it's very much appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, rather, if you can leave a review for the podcast, that would be awesome. With that being said, we'll catch you in the next episode. See y'all.
This episode may be over, but your hustling journey has just started. Visit thesidehustlesociety.com to access all links and resources mentioned in the show that will help you on your hustler's journey.